Welcome, welcome, beloveds, to our complimentary goddess motion class. I've got my darling friend Yukiko ready to come on, so I'm going to go ahead and have her join us. Thank you for being with us today. And here she comes. Go ahead and light my candle here at Rhiannon's altar. We're in our goddess temple here in the Hudson Valley. Hello, darling.
Hi there.
Hi. So,
Hi.
calling in the goddess Rhiannon to be with us today as we enter into the 2 weeks leading up to Beltane, where Yukiko and I will be co-leading a beautiful embodied Beltane ceremony together, where she'll get to share this incredible practice that has come through her over the past years. I mean, I feel like this is like a lifetime of development that Goddess Motion has been flowing through you. So I'm so excited to get to share it with everybody today and have you lead it. So if you're joining us live, I encourage you to type into the questions box, because we'll have some time at the end of our live practice today to ask any questions that you may have about embodiment practices, about how this practice could be used to support your existing physical practice. If you have any questions about goddess spirituality, we're going to make some time for all of that today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you formally, Yuki, and then ask you some questions so you can tell us a little bit about your story and how this amazing practice came to be. So Yukiko is a dear friend of mine, a shamanic practitioner, a mentor that I've had the pleasure of working with. I mean, I don't know, over the past 6 or 7 years, I guess now, since Divine Feminine Yoga days. Yeah, we met in a sacred women in business course, and it was kind of love at first meet, I think. And over the years, I've had the privilege of not only studying with her, but also traveling with her across the seas to Glastonbury, where we did our 3-year Priestess of Avalon training together and got to crawl around in the mud of Ireland and England together and visited a ton of sacred sites. And Yukiko is a transformational wisdom holder. So I'm going to actually read this beautiful description about what she's done, because she's been working in the embodiment world and the healing world for the past 40 years. So we're so grateful to be able to learn from her today in this setting. And Yukiko is a mentor, a healer, a teacher, a shaman, a yogi. She was a professional dancer for a lot of her life, Priestess of Avalon and Priestess of Goddess. And she's passionate about fully embracing the unique life path and potential of each person, and loves to guide and accompany her students and private clients into that spaciousness. So I feel like I want to turn it over to you, Yuki, because I want to just let everyone hear your story. It's such an incredible place of transformation that you've experienced, I feel like, and I want to make sure that it's getting told in your words. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So today, because we're talking about, and we're in a way, just embracing this whole notion of embodiment, of being in body, that I might start very early on in my life, when I was a very young child. I had this really shocking experience one day. I think I might have been about 3 years old. And we were I was born in Japan, and I grew up in Japan. And we were at this department store. And I remember it was a huge sort of a dining hall. And I remember looking up, and all I could see were all these mouths that were open, stuffing themselves with food. And I remember the shock that I received looking at that. And there was something about being in body that felt really not great for me in that moment. It just felt like this greed of give me more, eat, 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 take, eat, you know? And so I spent a lot of my teenage years trying to get out of body, in the sense of just feeling like if only there was no body, if I wasn't embodied, I would be completely free. I wouldn't have to think about work. I wouldn't have to think about lodging. I wouldn't have to think about any of these things. And that went on until in my early 20s when I was in Paris. And despite all of that, I've always loved dancing. Anytime music would come on, my body would just start moving. And I was taken into this dance world quite by chance. And I started studying with people who were all ballet dancers and black belt Aikido practitioners. It was a very weird,
Yeah.
And that's when I started so they taught dance class through energy. So we would breathe, So it wasn't just like porte de bras, just open your arms. It would be like, okay, trace that energy, And as I studied that, it might have been about 3 or 4 months in, I was walking down the street in Paris, and suddenly I felt my whole vision or view of the world shift, literally. It was almost like I was seeing something I couldn't see before. And I felt like the blinders that these horses have, and suddenly the blinders opened up, and I could see much more than I had seen before in the way that I understood life and the world. And it was such a huge, impactful moment for me that it suddenly shifted everything I felt about being embodied. And I realized that there was this amazing wisdom in my body that I had absolutely no concept of, because I had always thought that the body was a thing and the spirit and the soul was the most important part. And, for some reason we had to drag this body thing along, but the most important part was not that. And that's when I started to have doubts about what I had sensed and learned. And it started a really an inquiry into what that was all about. And I had no understanding at that point. I was in my early 20s. And so I just danced, but that was when the divine started to come in. Every time I would dance, I felt that it was something sacred, that it was a temple. And I was on stage, but when I danced, there was something other that was coming through. So I felt like I was the at the time I thought I was like being the instrument. I don't feel that way anymore. I thought I was being the channel or the instrument, that I had nothing to do with this, and this was coming through, and I had to train my body to be able to do whatever it wanted me to do. But, jumping forward, I feel that this interest with the body, with embodiment, with the wisdom that was held there, took me into yoga, took me into martial arts, into studying shamanism, into different things, because I really wanted to know. I really wanted to know the most important question that people say. Many people told me that was a stupid question to ask. And I feel that it's the most important question to ask, which is, who am I? And what am I? And why am I here? And these are the questions I feel that lead us into this impossible quest, which then opens up the doors and the portals to worlds and universes that are right there, that we might call magical or mystical, but it's actually reality. Because the reality that we have narrowed ourselves into seeing is a reality that was fabricated maybe about 4,000, 5,000 years ago, when the Indo-European tribes from Central Asia, brought in the sky gods and the horses and the warriors and patriarchy. And somehow all that was feminine, all that was mother, matter. Matter comes from the word mother, right? All that is the body, that is material, that is woman, that is feminine, that is nature, all of that somehow became the possession of the higher echelon, which were men and priests and everybody else. So we have this pyramid scheme, you know, the pyramid, and everybody else is subsumed, is underneath. And that just is not reality. That is not reality, people. That is not. And this way of coming back and to really hold the body, your body, and not like in a fancy way of saying, hey, my body is my temple, and you know, but really, really, this is sacred space. Sacred in the sense that it requires and demands all of your attention and respect and love. And self-love isn't just about, oh, I'm, you know, wonderful. And yes, these things are important, but it's also about respect. How do you respect yourself? How do you respect this internal space that you are creating with each breath, you know, that you are co-creating? So anyway, sorry, I get taken.
No, it's good. It's beautiful. And that's such a wonderful way to express, I think, a concern that a lot of us experience, especially when working with embodiment practices, whatever they may be, whether they're martial arts, whether they're yoga, whether it's dance. It's being able to weave, like you say, this sacred relationship between you and your body. And I think that, you know, my experience in working with you over the years and getting to experience soul motion and now goddess motion with you, I remember the very first time that I got to experience it with you, and this immense fear that came up in my body and my mind because I had been so entrenched in this pretty masculine alignment based yoga world, right? Where everything is so much like, you know, this is how you need to do things. This is the only way that it's safe for your body to move. And also coming from a background of 20 years of being a dancer, where that thing that you're describing of like, okay, you know, there's technique. Where are you placing your arms? How are you working with the body in that way? But the idea of bringing this conversation between you and your soul into your body was so healing for me, Yukiko, because now all of a sudden that idea of, you know, and I'm sure that a lot of people who are with us today will have some kind of an experience with this, where a lot of the practices that we have, especially in the yoga world, the meditation world, they're all kind of entrenched even in this patriarchal idea of ascending the physical body, of escaping, right? It's like we have to transcend it in our meditation, right? Getting to nirvana, getting to samadhi, whatever it is. So now these more feminine practices where it's not about transcending the physical form, it's about embracing it and seeing it as something that's sacred and something that we need to tend to. And for me, it's been such a beautiful way to add in some more of these circular, fluid, spiral movements into the body that even with a severe scoliosis, right, that, you know, most people who are with us today know that I have had, you know, since I was 8 years old, and being afraid to kind of move in that way. But with this practice, there's so much coming from how your body is informing your movement, right? It's like whatever feels right to your body is how you can move. And that was so, I can't tell you how freeing that was for me to just be able to dance again and move again in a more free form way, that my back would feel amazing afterwards, you know? So it's this, I think it's just exactly what you described. It's this beautiful kind of coming home into the body in a way that's like, oh, actually, it might not be so scary and terrible to stay in my body. I don't need to only be happy when I'm meditating or only feel good when I'm escaping my physical form in some way. So I'm excited for you to share this practice today. So do you think you can give us a little bit of a little taste, a little experience so we can
Sure.
put into our bodies what we've been talking about?
Yeah. And just a very short introduction to that. And because our mind is so busy and we've been told so many things. So remember what I said about the pyramid. Well, within our bodies, exists a pyramid because that's how we have been educated. And so we have been educated in such a way that the mind is the high priest,
Right.
high priest. And that's when injuries can come in, when the mind says, do this, do that, move this way, move that way, with complete disregard to the rest of the pyramid, and not listening because that's the leader and everybody's supposed to follow.
Yes.
Well, and I really want to do a shout out to Soul Motion and Vincent Martinez, who is the designer and the creator of Soul Motion, because this Goddess Motion is really inspired by Soul Motion, and also by the seasonal wheel of Avalon. Both practices really brought me into a place of connection and knowing where I am. So this is one question that I will ask all of you watching right now. Where are you right now? Okay, where are you right now? Not who are you or how do you feel, but where are you right now? And I want you to see if you can kind of soften and drop your weight. Okay, so where are you is in relationship to yourself. So I want you to really sense where the center is by just exhaling out, dropping your body weight, and sensing your own center. This place in Soul Motion, we call it the pause. You come to this place of your center, knowing where you are. Okay, knowing your center, knowing your relationship to above and below, right? To earth and sky. And if you are seated or standing, the axis of the world tree is now your spine that connects the earth to sky. Okay, and in the seasonal wheel of the goddess of Avalon, that axis is earth fire and star fire that we bring in to mix with our soul fire. Okay? And from here, you can now start to extend your awareness into the space in front of you. Right? Just sense into the space in front of you, sensing this place that you are cultivating. It's the moving into the unknown. We are forward-facing people, species. So most of the time when we step into the unknown, we're moving forward, right? So this is the unknown. This is the place that you're going to cultivate for your children, for your children's children. Sensing that, right? Sensing the space behind you. Think about your ancestors who have walked this path, your blood ancestors and also the other ancestors, the priestesses, in our practice. All those men and women and men who held the teachings of the goddess, persecuted, but for so many centuries kept it alive so we can come into connection with that. Okay? And in this field, I want you to sense into your kidneys. Okay? Your kidneys are supported by your ancestors. And because of the goddess practice, I really also encourage you to feel into your mother line that's supporting you, right behind you. Okay? And then sense into the field on both sides of you. Okay? Sense all the sisters and brothers that you walk this life with. And that includes in each space, not just human, but animal, bird, insect, plants, trees, the earth, the stones. Okay? And sensing that. Okay? And again, make sure that you know where you are. Okay. And I invite you to, if you like, okay, everything is an invitation in this work. If you like, to stand up and coming down from your tower of thought. Remember when we talked about the pyramid? That's not really how we are going to move now. We're going to move as a spiral. So think of everybody, your body, your heart, your breath, your belly, your womb, your spine, your feelings. They're all sitting in a circle. Nobody is going to be dictating anything. And you're going to come into your own sacred space of your own breath and heartbeat. The first thing that you hear in your mother's womb is her breath and heartbeat. Okay, so you can, if you like, have one hand on your heart, one hand on over your womb, listening to your own breath and heartbeat as you stand between earth and sky, as you sense the space before you, behind you, to either side of you, 360 degrees. And let your hips soften and just gently sway, which means you need to unlock your knees and soften your joints. Just as if you were very gently swirling around the waters of your womb. That's it, yes. Let your breath come in like the beautiful spring wind, sometimes strong, sometimes faint, creating waves and ripples in the water of your womb. There is no correct way of moving here. Every single one of us have our own way of connecting and moving with the energy within our body. So soften your tension in your mind and bring your attention into that womb space, the water that's moving. And let your limbs, your spine, follow the waters in your womb. Oh yeah. Hey. Beltane, the great queen of Beltane, rides on the white mare of ocean foam. What is this powerful energy that is in your womb? And see what happens if that powerful energy in your womb, like a beautiful white mare, starts to go down into your legs, connecting with the underground waterways of Earth. And just like the beautiful trees that are drinking the waters flowing underneath us, drink up the fill of the energy and start to bring it up through your body. Just like the trees, opening, letting it run through your heart, up through your arms, the unfurling of leaves, through your fingertips, to every strand of your hair. And then I invite you to start to expand and extend your awareness, feeling into the trees that grow nearby. Feel into their energy. The energy of the flowers coming through this springtime. The powerful energy that it takes to pierce the earth, to open and flower. Expand and extend your consciousness even further to the mountains, to the ocean, to the rivers and lakes. To the clouds and the sun, the birds singing their magical songs. And to the beautiful fire deep within the earth that also burns powerfully in your belly. And if your eyes are closed, I invite you to softly open them. Soft gaze. Let the world come to you. Let the world come to you. And again, knowing where you are, sensing your center, being in your body, present in this moment, and aware of where you stand, 360 degrees. Feeling the energy of nature, of the Mother Goddess running through you. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Thank you so much, Yukiko.
Welcome.
And I invite everyone, whether or not you are live or watching this later, to really sense into how even a short practice, when we enter into that kind of space with specific intention, and what Yukiko was doing a lovely job describing earlier, this ability to really listen to how your body wants to move, how your soul wants your body to move, how the earth moves through you. It's moving us back into this state of interconnectedness. And I cannot emphasize enough how profound doing this practice regularly can be when it comes to your own healing, be it body, mind, or spirit, coming back into union with yourself and with nature and with Mother Goddess, so that we can see how that life force energy flows through everything, including our bodies. So I would like to now shift into any kind of questions that you may have. As this is your first time experiencing this, you can tell us in the comments how it was for you. Oh, there's Judy. That was really great. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah. So, and if you have any questions, we're going to take 10 minutes or so now to answer any questions that may come up. If you have any questions for Yukiko about the practice or anything embodiment related, anything, goddess spirituality related, we're happy to go into that a little bit. And while you are forming your questions, put them right into the comment box. There's also next to the comments. Oh, hi, love you too. Next to the comment box, you'll see a little question mark that you can actually type your questions right in there, and they will pop up for us so we can answer them for you. And I want to make sure to invite you all to the full moon Beltane ceremony that we will be doing together on Monday, April 26th, which will be an extended moon practice. So normally our moon ceremonies are an hour long. This one will be 90 minutes. And Yuki and I are going to kind of co-create the ceremony for you all, not only to honor the energies of the new moon, but really get to explore this goddess motion practice in depth. So you'll have, probably about an hour or 45 minutes of a movement practice if you want to join us. And on top of that, moon ceremony will be recorded. So even if you're not able to attend on Monday, I think we're starting at 3 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah.
3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern that day. So even if you're not able to join us live, you can purchase the recording of the practice to do afterwards. Just make sure you sign up before the ceremony begins if you want the recording to practice with later. And that recording will be available to you until our next new moon practice, basically, in a couple of weeks. So you can practice it many times, get that Beltane energy moving and swirling through the body and getting you ready for the start of summer. How exciting. I don't see any questions coming in. So, Yukiko, I had another question for you personally. Personal questions only. Um, I wanted to dive into a little bit with you just what working with the wheel specifically in your embodiment practices, how did that kind of come to be? Like how did soul motion move into goddess motion? Like where was that connection that got made between the two, and how did that evolve?
Well, it it kind of evolved very organically because when I started to call in the directions, you know, when I we started to do the training and out in Glastonbury, and I came back, and at the time I lived on this farm, and I started to call the directions in always outside. It was cold, but it felt really great, and I really needed to know where the sunrise was and everything else because I'm a city girl, so I was just like, yeah, whatever. So I really needed to feel that. Now in this field, I started to, and because I've been moving for so much that when I would call the directions in, I would feel that energy, whether right now it's the east, right, with fire, with Morgan Clayton and Arta, and I would feel the energy and my body would start to move. And so on and so forth. And then I think I told you this, there were horses in that field that I was calling in, but
Oh, I love this story.
Field, and they were always far away. Well, when I started to call the directions in, I think it was maybe a week into this, all of a sudden one day, all these horses started galloping towards me. Now, horses aren't really scary animals, but they're big. And they started galloping, and I was kind of freaked out, going, what's going on here? And they all surrounded me. And I thought this couldn't really be true. And I started counting. There were 9 mares. They were 9 female horses. And as you know, in the Avalonian tradition, we have the 8 directions plus a center. Mm-hmm. So that's 9, and we have the 9 Morgans. And every time I would call in, these would come in, and one of them even climbed up onto the rock that I was standing on to call in and put her face right up against me, as if to say thank you. So I feel like that's, and then I started to, when I was teaching soul motion workshops, I started to call in the directions in the very beginning, mm-hmm. and have everybody move with that. And that's where we would start, because I feel that the way we are, I don't want to get too philosophical, but I just feel that the way that the wheel energy works is so beautiful and so feminine. It's not only about the elements, but it's also about the cycle of life, the life cycles, maiden, lover, mother, crone, of the seasons, and of all these qualities of emotions, of energies. It just felt like there was something that was so powerful here. And by the way, I started I introduced a little bit of the goddess motion before, but this is the first time that I'm doing a full-on practice.
Yay! The
debut.
Yes.
It's the debut of Goddess Motion, ladies. And, and today I pulled a card from my Avalon deck, mm-hmm. just in preparation for this. And I got this card, Birth, Rebirth.
Oh, amazing.
And it just says, This marker bodes well for any new project, endeavor, relationship, or idea to take shape and be birthed into the world.
Ha!
So
We are alive.
let's welcome in this way of moving that's not directional, that's not trying to get to something, that's not trying to be, transcendent,
Yes.
but to be here immanent, with the energies. And yeah, so
Thank you, Yuki. Yeah, no, this has been really, really great. And for those of you who are wondering more about the Avalon Wheel, that is, when we're posting on the River Valley Goddess Temple page, which many of you are following and some of you are in our year-long training, when we are talking about the Wheel of the Year, it really orients us, right, of where the directions are, and each one of the directions, as we call them in, has a different energy. So I love that, the birthing of goddess motion came out of your direct experience with working with each of those energies. And for those of you who have been in our ceremonies in the past, when we do call in the wheel, I always encourage you to really let the energy move in you and through you, whether you're actively calling in a direction or just receiving the medicine of that wheel. But I have that same experience too. It's like, no matter which direction I'm facing, it's like Bridget's energy when it comes in versus Rihanna, they all have such different ways of wanting
yeah,
to move within you. So I can really see this practice that you're creating being just another amazing way to connect with her wheel, to connect with her seasons, and really connect with the earth wherever you are, right? It kind of
yes,
just orients your spirit. So that idea of like, where am I? Not who am I? Why am I? It's really, where am I right now? And honoring the land. It's so beautiful to get to share this with you. So,
yeah, and it's honoring in such a way that, because the question of where am I then becomes much more about community, about sitting in the circle with the circle of life. And it's not so much I. And even though the soul motion practice is incredibly powerful, it's I am one with all one. I am one. You
mm,
come into relationship with yourself, with relationship with another,
mm,
all relationship with community, one relationship with all. But somewhere it's still I centered. And I'm, with the goddess will, yes, there is a central I, and that's really important. And at the same time, there is a sense of entering into communion with all these energies that are within us and around us. And I feel like it enables us to communicate and understand much better, not only each other, but our relationship with nature, with earth. And it's important. It
yeah.
really is, I feel.
I mean, if you ask me, I think that our disconnect from nature and our disconnect from the wisdom of our bodies is the root cause of all suffering. I really
Yeah.
believe that because it disconnects us from our sense of community, like you said, about really taking care of our brothers and sisters, be they people or
Mm-hmm.
animals of every genus, every species, every, whatever, be they trees, be they rocks. I mean, this idea of seeing everything and everyone as family and seeing ourselves as something that's sacred. I mean, to be able to reconnect to that and do it in a way that is, it's possible to connect in that way no matter what part of the world you're in. So, you
True.
know,
Yep.
it's healing for the spirit, but I've also felt a lot of physical healing, mental healing,
Yes.
emotional healing, because just
Yes.
even working with the wheel, you have there's this kind of natural cycle, just like out in nature, of this, creation, right? Which we're experiencing right now, the push of springtime, the blossoming, the growing, all of that. And then after the fall, when we get to Samhain, that dying, that letting go, and then the stillness, and then the rebirth. And it's given me really a new way to do life,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
in flow with that nature. So I can't wait to see you know, what else you have to offer with the goddess motion, because I have a feeling that this is the start of something really beautiful, and I can't wait to have you continue to share with our
Yeah.
community. So, so
And
we
also, if you know, if people are interested in this conversation, because Rachel and I can converse on and on, people, you know, about this, because we're really, this is our passion, and of healing, of connection, of feminine wisdom, of wisdom, you know, and what the earth holds. And so, yeah, and that we'll be doing a Facebook Live together as well
yeah,
next Wednesday at noon.
noon, right?
Noon, yeah,
Noon,
noon Eastern daytime.
and that's going to be on Yukiko's Facebook page, right? Your personal
Yes, yeah,
Facebook. So
my
search
personal
for
Facebook page.
Yukiko Amaya. You'll see her in this beautiful purple shroud with her priestess headdress on. And I'll be sure to share something about it also on this page. So if you're really interested in diving more into the seasonal wheel and how we experience energy in the land and how that can be such a healing practice, then definitely come and join us on Wednesday on Yukiko's page, and we'll also repost this video, and probably pull some things out of the Wednesday one too, so you'll get to tap in. But above all, I hope you can join us on Monday
Yes,
26th. Please come, please experience this beautiful practice, and I hope that it supports all the other spiritual physical practices that you do. It's been so like I said before, just really life-changing and freeing for me personally. So I'm so grateful.
yes, it
So grateful
will.
to be
It
with us.
will, because the it will. It I just, from being a yogi, being, you know, a martial artist, being a choreographer and a modern dancer, you know, a lot of injuries come in.
Yes.
And moving in this way is really, really part of healing. You know, I've had people being able to heal different places within their body. And so, even as healers, it's, as you said yourself, it's just an amazing way to reprogram the nervous system and the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that relationship of really not only just deeply listening, but it's this coming together, right? It's not seeing your body, like you said, just to kind of circle back to the beginning, as something that needs to be, that we need to escape, or right, or that we need to, you know,
control.
pile a bunch of pills on top of, or diet profusely, or whatever. It's like this, you've got one home this lifetime, and this is really a practice that can really help you move in.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well
Yeah.
put. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Yukiko. It's been such a
Thank you.
blessing being with you and sharing the space. And yeah, and I'll see you next Wednesday for our next conversation.
Yes, yes. And
Uh,
please do come to the ritual on the goddess motion. It's you, I never know what will really come, you know, come in and dance with us, but
yeah,
it's always fun. So,
absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. And that's again April 26th, Monday, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. You will have access to a recording if you sign up ahead of class. So even if you can't join us live, sign up so you can practice and get yourselves ready for Beltane. Coming.
Yay!
Yay. Our
Okay.
beautiful Rhiannon. Let me see if I can, before I close off today, give us a, where is she? There she is.
Oh, here. Let me get to Rhiannon too.
Yeah.
There she is. Yes.
Yes. Our beautiful Queen of the May, the lover goddess. Such a
Yeah.
beautiful time to come into union with yourself and relationship with yourself. So please join us. Sending you all so much love from the East Coast, wherever you may
Mm.
be, wherever this video may be finding you. I hope it helps you come into wholeness, oneness with your sacred self. And
Yay.
thank you, Yuki. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Bye bye.
Love you all. Bye.